So William deLorraine was the principal geologist at the St. Lawrence Zinc Company in Balmat for over 30 years. He graduated with a geology degree from SUNY Potsdam in 1974, and he has published and co-authored numerous scientific papers on the geology of the Balmat mines and the larger Northwestern Adirondacks. Most recently, Bill actually co-authored The Collector's Guide to the Balmat Mining District in St. Lawrence County, a book which I have on display right over here. Feel free to look it over, as well as the other materials here and upstairs after the talk. And I actually met Bill as a member of the St. Lawrence County Rock and Mineral Club, of which he is president. So we meet the first Wednesday of the month at the Canton Public Library. It's a great club. We go out on field trips and find minerals around the county. So I highly recommend it to anybody, and if you're interested, you can talk to one of us after. So without further ado, please welcome Bill deLorraine.
Well, the title of my talk that Carlene gave me is Mining and Minerals in St. Lawrence County. The title that I like is The Balmat Zinc Deposits of New York State, one of the most fantastic ore deposit stories ever told. And no kidding, folks, the Balmat Zinc deposits are one of the most fantastic ore deposits anywhere in the world, and they're right in our own backyards, right here, St. Lawrence County. Gotta get used to this setup. Now, over the years, I spent 40 years at Balmat, a little bit over 40 years at lots of companies, and so many of them, so many different names, I can't remember them all. So this is what I did to remember them. I have some ingots. The first one was St. Joe Minerals Corporation, and then Zinc Corporation of America, St. Lawrence Zinc. I didn't have an ingot for that one, but I made this. St. Lawrence Zinc Company, Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting. More recently, I didn't work for Titan Mines. They're the ones that operate the mines now, Empire State Mines at Balmat. This is a location slide for the Balmat mines, northern part of the state, just off the eastern end of Lake Ontario. This little line I put in here for the benefit of people that live right down there who consider this upstate New York. Upstate New York is really north of that line, right up here. This is Balmat. Here's the generalized bedrock geology map of New York State, showing St. Lawrence County right in here. Balmat is located right there, little red dot. This is the Adirondack region right in here. It's a conical-shaped area composed of rocks that were metamorphosed about 1 billion years ago. It's composed of two areas. This is the Adirondack Highlands right in here, and to the west, the Northwest Adirondack lowlands, which is where we are right now. This is, again, about 1.1 billion years old, and it's surrounded by flat-lying lower Paleozoic rocks of about half that age, shales and limestones. Go to Watertown, and it's a pretty flat-lying area down there, and the reason why it's hilly up here is because it's metamorphosed rocks of much older age. The next slide is going to be a blow-up of the Northwest Adirondack lowlands. It's a geologic map. Whoops, I got to click down here. Here it is. Here's where we are, Canton, for location and scale. This is Gouverneur. Balmat is here, Edwards here. This is the Balmat-Edwards Marble Belt that hosts the zinc deposits. Pierpont is up here, Adirondack Highlands, Canada over here, St. Lawrence Sea for matter of scale. Now the different colors on here represent different rock units, and the blues represent marbles. That's where the zinc deposits are located in marbles. And the yellows and pinks represent gneisses and granites of various sorts that have been buried down very deeply, about 12 to 15 miles, and heated up to about 700 degrees and folded numerous times, about 5 different times that we can figure out. And that's why you get these complex map patterns. And this is where the zinc deposits are located, the red dots here. Balmat Edwards Marble Belt, and midway between them, a place called Hyatt, there's another deposit in here. And then up 28 miles to the northeast at Pierpont, zinc deposits right here. Now, at the beginning of my career, I thought, holy mackerel, look at this. You get zinc deposits, Balmat Edwards, maybe there's a whole bunch over here, right around Gouverneur, up, all the way up to Canton and northwest over to near the Canadian border. So I spent a whole lot of time traipsing around all this countryside looking for zinc. And gradually, very gradually, I realized that's not the case. These marbles are different.
I don't think so.
Than these. Yeah, don't listen to this guy. He worked with me for a lot of years over there. John Kreider, folks, right there. He tried to tell me so, maybe. Did you really? So, now this is supposed to show up. Oh, I'm clicking in the wrong spot. Okay, so the marbles are different. These are calcitic marbles over here around Gouverneur, and these are a different composition, dolomitic. So these are calcitic, and these are magnesium rich, and that's probably why the ore bodies exist here and here and not over there. Different formation. Different environmental conditions led to the formation of the ore bodies. Very important. The whole structure of the Balmat Edwards Marble Belt is called the Sylvia Lake Syncline, located right here. It's, if you can visualize it, it's like shaped like a giant pita pocket cut in half. So the half that's cut is exposed at the surface here, and the bottom half goes underground. It's dipping down towards the northwest. And this is back to the Northwest Adirondack map, geologic map. 5 phases of folding are responsible for this map pattern. And if I can come over here, I can demonstrate that by folding this piece of paper. Now, if you can imagine, this is a stratum of rock that exists from Gouverneur all the way to Canton. It's buried down 12 to 15 miles or so. Plate tectonic continental collision setting. So you fold, the first phase of deformation was huge folds that spanned all the way across the Adirondacks. So you fold it, these are called nap style folds, great big huge folds like this. How do I want to do this? Because it's very tricky. Okay, the next phase, crinkle rocks. This is the second phase of deformation. Like this. So far, so good. Second phase of deformation. And these folds are the folds that are responsible for the northeast-southwest regional grain across the Adirondacks. Then there's the third phase of folds that fold it again. Well, trust me, folds it again, northeast-southwest, so it's a little bit hard to see. The fourth phase, I don't understand all that well, but you see it underground. Okay, trust me on that one too. The fifth phase of folds trends northwest, southeast, like along this line. So it goes, folds everything like this.
Like that?
So heavy. That's why the map patterns are so complex. Good catch, John. Okay. The next slide is a cross-section through the Balmat District at Sylvia Lake, east-west vertical section, right through here. And it looks like this.
Ain't that pretty?
That is great.
West, east, here's the surface. And here's the great big fold, what's called the Sylvia Lake syncline. It looks like a great big horseshoe turned on the side. This is the Balmat number 4 shaft. It goes down 3,200 feet, 1 kilometer. And the different rock units are shown in different colors. There are 16 different stratigraphic units numbered here. There's a whole plethora of numbers. The little red blobs and dots on here are the ore bodies. So you can see in the whole scheme of things, the ore bodies are little areas in cross section and a great big Sylvia Lake syncline. It's surrounded by gneiss called Popple Hill gneiss. If you've ever been around Gouverneur heading towards Balmat, you'll go through what's called the Popple Hill road cut. I don't know, has anybody been through there?
Yeah, probably one time.
Yeah, a few people. Okay, that is the gneiss. Also, if you head down towards Philadelphia, towards Watertown, you'll pass through the Popple Hill gneiss down that way as well. Traditionally, there have been 3 mines connected to the centrally located number 4 mine shaft. There's the Balmat number 2 mine located right in here, core of the Sylvia Lake syncline. Number 3 mine area located right in here, and the number 4 mine area located right in there. A whole bunch of little ore bodies right there. They're interconnected on a variety of levels, so that everything mined at numbers 2, 3, and 4 can be hauled to the number 4 mine shaft, hauled right to that central location and milled right there. Salient points about the number 4 shaft is 3,200 feet deep. It's called the upcast ventilation, 18 feet in diameter, divided into 2 halves. By upcast ventilation, it means this. Air is pulled down a vent shaft, circulated through the workings, which I can't show here because of the scale, but circulates through the workings, and then the spent air is brought up the shaft and expelled there. Okay, so to review that a little bit, the structure is an overturned fold. Layer cake stratigraphy, 16 different stratigraphic units. The ore bodies are shown in red and they occur in fold hinges and faults. So here's an example of ore body that occurs in a fold hinge, and these ore bodies right through there occur along faults that cross-cut the layering, cross-cut the stratigraphic units. And there are stromatolites within the rock units. These are some of the oldest fossils you'll find anywhere, fossil algal mounds. Here's an example right up in there. Okay, so why would anyone say that the Balmat ore bodies are the greatest or most fantastic anywhere? Lots of reasons. They're world class, right in our own backyards. How many people knew that? No, raise your hand. Participate. So about 45 million tons, and maybe a lot more than that, because I think there's still more to be found. Over 100-year lifespan so far. Very old, about 1.3, they contain, stratigraphy contains 1.3 billion-year-old fossils called stromatolites. They occur in the longest mountain chain on the face of the earth, on the globe. deeply buried about 12 to 15 miles in the core of that mountain range. Did the ore melt? Yeah, they were metamorphosed, hotter than most ore bodies anywhere, up to 700 degrees. And the ore formed dikes and migrated thousands of feet, tens of thousands of feet. And they were folded 5 different times, as you just saw. And it formed very complicated structures, and my favorite catchphrase is formed very complex three-dimensional geometry.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this goes way back. Do you know how far this?
I think I'm in that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, there's John. I used to say I was one of these guys, but.
John's here.
Does that go back to the 20s and 30s? That goes way back. Some of the earliest. It can't be number 1 shaft because it's inclined. Balmat Mining Mill, 1940. This was after that. This is number 2 mine and the number 2 mill right there. Balmat. Now this is a little bit, perhaps a little bit more recent head frame. Guess who that is? Balmat number 4 mine.
Is it you?
Yeah, that was me. And here's one, Edwards, New York,
Those cars.
1920s. The first mining started back in Edwards in the 1920s. The crane shaft, I think that was the first one. The first one. Another view of Edwards mine.
Oh, yeah.
That had to be the mill. I was down in Edwards once,
That was enough.
down to 3,700 level. I wish I'd been down there more. It was a little bit scary,
Yeah.
a little bit tighter down there. This is some photo right here, Balmat number 2 mine, mid-50s. There's a stope miner there, and then there's one right in here. There's some big openings underground, but it's not like a coal mine. Coal mine, flat-lying sedimentary layers that might come down on you. This is like a porcelain beehive. And you can get chunks that fall off the hanging in here, but it's not like a wholesale collapse would be likely. These go way back. I think this is probably talc mine vehicle.
Yeah.
Names you might know, Van Sant, the Frenches, Hanses, McFerrin. This is kind of a haunting photo. Old Freeman
I
mine
kept
talc
in
mill.
for 30 years, those guys.
Miner climbing arrays. I've climbed hundreds of these, and so have you. But we had to wear glasses. I don't think this person was wearing glasses. And this, I think, might have been from one of the talc mines. Here's a mineral from the talc mines. This is called hexagonite. The reason for the color is manganese. I think hexagonite is found around Balmat, and the only other place in the world I understand is India. This one I put in because I don't think too many people have probably seen mining the marble pits, Gouverneur. This is a photo from one of the big marble pits. Here's a picture of the stromatolites, very old fossils, some of the oldest anywhere. Stromatolites. Imagine cutting a cabbage head in half and putting the flat part on the bottom. The dome points up. Look at this. Here's the dome points down. And this is the only place in the Adirondacks where you know up from down for sure, and up is pointing down. So the rocks have been completely flipped over by the folding.
What's caused all that folding?
Pardon?
What has caused all the
Oh,
folding?
it's a continental plate tectonic collision setting. Yeah, there's a picture of that coming up.
Okay, thanks.
So what might the environment of deposition have looked like about 1 billion years ago? Modern day analogs, Shark's Bay, Western Australia. Imagine Balmat being here and way out there, Canton, where we are. Something like this. These are the stromatolites. Here's the dome pointing up. The dome you just saw was pointing down. Flip right over. So the Balmat deposits are located in the longest mountain chain on the face of the earth, and below the Grenville orogenic belt. Looks like this. Here's the Adirondacks. Here's the Grenville mountain chain, about 3,000 miles long, right through here. Deeply buried in the core of that chain, about 12 to 15 miles, collisional plate tectonic setting. Looks like this. Maybe this will help answer
Thanks.
the question. Balmat Zinc, this is my cartoon trying to answer it. Balmat may have been somewhere around through here. These are not ore bodies, I wish they were. These are granitic plutons that rose up through the pile. But this is the Grenville Mountains. Here's proto-North America. This would be a continent called Amazonia colliding with where we are. And what happened here is that over the course of 500 million years, as this mountain range eroded, then where Balmat is, these rocks, these high-grade metamorphic rocks, gradually rebounded right back to the surface from where they started. Another thing that makes the Balmat ore deposit so fantastic is where they heated to the melting point. Some ore dikes, we have evidence, in Cabrew, intruded up to 10,000 feet away from the parent ore bodies. They almost melted at 700 degrees. Yes, they did. So there are two different types of ore at Balmat, and there's some samples over there. There's a parent ore called source bed ore. It's coarse grain, maybe layered. It's twice the grade of the other ore, which is daughter ore. And that tends to occur along ductile fault zones, which is often highly folded. You'd hardly recognize it as a straight fault zone. It's folded all over the place. That's fine grained. It has rounded inclusions in it, like this. It has a special name called Dirchbewegen texture. And there's samples of that over there. So it undergoes high temperature mobilization, and then it cools off and it gets ground up to form this stuff. Next slide is going to be some photos of sphalerite that's much younger. Looks like this. This is, 500 million years later in open spaces underground. Sphalerite, it's called yellow zinc or honey zinc. Way post-metamorphic, secondary, and in open spaces near surface. Sphalerite can come in a lot of colors. Here's a neat crystal, a zoned crystal. Clear, yellowish, reddish. I wish I had this one. Very rare. Sphalerite, Balmat Edwards District. I also wish I had that one. Green. I have never seen this or anything like it, but they say it came from Balmat Edwards. It's really cool.
Where are they now? Those ones that you showed?
Somebody's collection, not mine. Oh man, some of them are in collections like the New York State Museum, Smithsonian, collections like that. So this is back to the cross section through the Sylvia Lake syncline, the model for Balmat, and this is unparalleled anywhere in the world. And we're realizing offshoots of zinc ore separate from parent ore bodies at very high temperatures, as they were buried 12 to 15 miles down, and intrude macrofractures. These are big cracks that develop. And you never have an open spacecraft, but as soon as the rock extends a little bit, it fills in with something. And in this case, as soon as the rock extends, it fills in with ore, these ore dikes. So the offshoots intrude macrofractures as sheet-like sphalerite pure ore dikes, where they form daughter ore bodies. And at number 3 mine here, there's direct linkage of daughters to the parents, so you can prove that it happened. And I was geologist of that mine, so I had a unique opportunity to document it. So, yeah, introducing what I call mother lode. Here's a mother lode. I thought it was here, and I thought this ore body gave birth to these daughters along cracks across this stratigraphy here. And they chided me for saying mother lode because they say, this applies to gold deposits. You know, so you're being, you know, pretty pretentious in calling it mother lode. But I thought, well, you know, parent daughters, why not call it mother lode? And so it stuck. So here is the number 3 mine area, just to illustrate the example of parent-daughter relationships. Oh, I keep clicking in the wrong spots. They're going to intrude sphalerite, pure sphalerite dikes, and this is unheard of, into the macrofractures. Here's the parent ore body, Upper Gleason. We're going to intrude. Now we're going to intrude. Just like that, very simple. Okay, now we're going to go over here and intrude Molo, mother lode. We're going to intrude into daughter ore bodies along those big cracks. And the distances are, you know, these ore dikes are the most extensive excursions across the rock units anywhere. And this distance is almost 1,800 feet. You know, that's a long ways. But in and out of this section, it's 6,000 feet.
Over a mile.
Over a mile, yeah. And that you just don't see that anywhere else.
Is that feasible to mine? Can we?
Yeah.
So we.
Because they're pretty narrow and high grade, but you just follow it for that long a distance. So this is what the aerial view looks like, looking down, the satellite view. This would be the number 3 mine area. Right here, what we just saw, this red is the parent. It has a northerly trend. And the daughters have the northeasterly trend. And this is the 6,000 foot long trend right there. Here's Sylvia Lake. Balmat's located right here. Farther to the northeast, this is the midway towards Edwards, this is the Hyatt area right in there. Number 4 mine, here's an 18,000 foot trend daughter. And originally I thought there's a daughter trend here and a daughter trend there, but they're actually connected. 18,000 feet long. But guess what? Come on. We never found a parent. We never found a parent for the daughter ore bodies over here. So somewhere, there's a parent ore body similar to this one that's 80 feet thick, massive ore, massive sulfide, probably upwards of 2,000 feet long when they mine that. But if and when they find it now, instead of me, somebody's gotta find that and keep people employed. But it's gonna be a real sweetener.
It's gonna be deeper, probably?
Well,
Or it's just so massive you can't tell exactly where it is?
paradoxically, no. I thought it was gonna be in the hinge of that great big fold, but it all happened before that. So it all happened when everything was at. And then, so I thought the Sylvia Lake Syncline was the driving force and it was in the hinge. That's why I showed in the hinge. But it happened before that, so it got, instead of being in hinge, it got folded on the upper limb. So it's shallow. And the dogma over the years was always drill and fold hinges. So I drilled that hinge out, up and down plunge. And it was barren, nothing there. And then finally I realized that was the great big huge Sylvia Lake syncline was the last thing that ever happened to everything. And so whatever transpired before was folded up on the upper limb where we never drilled because it was flat. It wasn't a fold hinge. We never bothered to drill it.
Have you taken your consulting information to the mine now to give them a
I
potential?
told them about it, you know, and it's a whole new mindset.
Yes. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they don't check credentials, you know, when they come in. Actually, they threw out a whole lot of information and just,
Are there any rare earth elements in this rock?
no.
Well, I've heard around the county, I get out, I hear so much scuttlebutt, I don't know if it's fact from fiction. And they say some of the tailings on these mines that are long since defunct are full of rare earth elements.
Yeah, that would
That's
be
like gold.
like Benson Mines, Starlight,
So those, they're true, it's true.
felsic rocks, felspars, and the host rocks of that mine would have a lot. These are carbonate rocks that are just limestone, metamorphosed limestone, pretty devoid of anything. I look for gold in all this stuff, and because there's micron-sized specks, but that's it. I mean, I looked all over the place. I think we all did.
Nothing big enough to make it worthwhile to,
Yeah.
no, just random, yeah.
I have a picture. I think that's the only speck there was. So here's a aerial view looking down again. Balmat number 2 mine, number 3 mine right in here, and number 4 mine areas, and Hyatt mine and Edwards. The ore body trends are headed right here in the middle. This area was never drilled because it's well, this area is all marble, so we drilled that. And this was all nice, and nobody ever wanted to drill nice because it, you know, it's pretty expensive to drill. But down deeper, that's where the ore would be. You know, it'd be just, it was an old mindset. So this is, I think, one of the futures is right down here. If there's enough zinc to mine economically at that depth, and the other place would be to find where that so-called mother lode is back in here. So on the worldwide stage, metamorphic remobilization of sulfides is well known at the following scales. Meters is extremely common. 10 meters is very common. Tens of meters is moderately common. A few hundred meters is uncommon. 1,000 meters is extremely uncommon. Beyond that is unproven. So where does Balmat weigh in? Greater than 3,000 meters. And we can prove it. We've got the data there to prove it. So what does this stuff look like underground? Well, here's the sphalerite that was remobilized. Looks like this. And this is marble. It looks like an intrusion breccia, but marble normally behaves like taffy. This doesn't look like taffy. But that's because of the ductility contrast with this stuff. It behaved like a hot zinc slushy. It melted to the point where there's sphalerite grains, but in between the grains, it was molten, so it was like a hot zinc slushy. That's what I like to call it. Here it is again. Very molten, liquidy stuff. I used to think it mobilized by plastic flow because everybody told me that's the way it had to be, but look at this. That's pretty liquidy. Here's a hammer for scale right here.
And it's following up through fault lines, is that why it's like fingers?
Yeah, well, the rocks break. It's like normally 12 to 15 miles down, you'd think everything behaves ductily, plastic. But it's like bending a sapling. If you bend it very slowly, it'll fold nicely. But it's dependent on strain rate. If you fold it real fast, it'll break. And that's what happens. A lot of the rocks just broke.
And I said faults, I meant like micro fissures or something, not micro fissures, not necessarily, but okay, fault lines is,
Well, yeah, the rocks will brecciate a little bit, break up and, in between, more closely spaced. But what's this? This doesn't look like an igneous rock anymore. This looks like it's all ground up. Lots of little inclusions in it. This doesn't look like anything like the previous slides, nor does this. Look at that. This is a real mess. And they even asked us to make sense of it. Imagine that. So this is a model. It's for development of, here's rock units being cross-cut by a macrofracture. Oops. So first, the model intrudes sphalerite, pure sphalerite organized, almost pure sphalerite, is hot zinc slushies. And so here you get your hot zinc slushies. This might just be several feet thick, a couple feet thick. And here's one of those brecciated areas you just saw with the veins in it, right through there. More of that stuff going on in some of the surrounding units. You have hot zinc slushy. Then you have to cool it about maybe, I'm guessing 100 million years, I don't know, long time. Then you get this stuff hardened up. Because to grind it, it has to be hard, otherwise you can't grind up jello or anything like that. So now let's grind it up. Now we ground it up. Grinding and milling. So here's my Rosetta Stone. This is an enclave of massive, coarse-grained, intrusive sphalerite here, cut by the millivore. Look at that. My Rosetta Stone. But guess how long it took me to figure that out? After 30 years in the mines, I thought, man, that little line, that little contact right there means a heck of a lot. Look at that. There's a big time difference between this and that. There's a big story there. Yeah, and they wanted us to make sense out of this. I can make sense out of this. Here's a dragon. Here's its eye. Here's a snout, and it's eating something. And the scale on this is 5 feet from there to there. And another view of some of the ore down underground. Recap real fast. World class. 45 million tons. I didn't get to edit this quickly enough. 100 years. Very old, 1.3 billion year old fossils. Deposited in shallow water setting. Longest mountain chain on the face of the earth, the Grenville orogenic belt. Deeply buried, 12 to 15 miles. Heated to the melting point. Very complex three-dimensional geometry. 5 phases of folding. Now, underground zinc mining at Balmat. This is what the head frame. You drive along the country road to get to the mine complex, and then everything looks like, pastoral landscape, and then you come around the corner and you're like, whoa, look at this. What are we looking at here? Well, this is called the head frame. Head frame, the top of the elevator. Hidden inside there is a bull wheel, great big wheel. This is the up and down wheel. The hoist room is hidden from view out behind this long flat building. This is the shaft, right through here, goes underneath the head frame. This is the man cage of the skip, and things go up and down on that. Takes a little while. It goes about 1,100 feet a minute now.
Wow.
And the total depth on that is 3,200 feet, 1 kilometer. And back to some minerals. Part of that title was minerals. We get some unusual minerals in New York State. Lazurite from the Mud Pond ore body underground, beautiful blues. This is from Balmat. Here's one from Edwards. St. Joe Mine, Edwards, New York. Look at this one.
Wow.
Faceted calcite, Balmat. This is in the Smithsonian in Washington.
What size is it?
It's about, yeah, that'd be it's about like this.
Wow.
Big. Unbelievable. I was talking to the guy who faceted this, and I said, you should see this. And I was talking, and he kept going, and just talking it up, and finally he told me, I'm the guy that did that. I didn't recognize him. Blue diopside and hexagonite from Balmat number 4 mine. I was underground when they were drifting this as a student back in 1973 or 74. Geologists create shells of the ore bodies, computer shells, from a variety of sources. This is one I made a while ago. From level mapping, diamond drilling. These are diamond drill holes put through the ore. Find out what shape it is so they can mine it. Section sketches and maps. Every time a tunnel or an underground drift passes through a mine cross-section, we map in detail what the ore is doing, what attitude it's laying at, what the grade is, et cetera, measure the thickness. Next slide is one of the level maps. This particular ore body is the Mahler ore body. The ore is shown right through here, shown folded. This particular section, the purple unit is thrust over the top of the ore and then folded. The next section is going to show the green unit thrust over the top of the ore and then folded. And we didn't even know that happened when we entered the ore body. We were pushed for production. We just drilled. We knew where the ore was, so we got in there, and then it was quite a nightmare to figure out. Well, geez, how do we get the best grade? Because if you don't know exactly where the ore is and how to mine it, you tend to get a lot of dilution. But after a while, we got it figured out. After a lot of consternation on the part of the geology people like me. Here's a picture of the diamond drillers. This is what a diamond drill rig looks like. Diamond drill setup. This is netting over steel grating over their heads to protect them. This is one of the ore shells of the three-dimensional computer model of the drifts. I like to say that the engineers were really messed up because they missed most of the ore and put the drifts in the waste rock. But in real life, there was ore here that I just couldn't show. There's always a lot of tug of war between geology and engineering. Here's another photo of underground ore. Anybody know Roy Smith? You know Roy Smith. Ooh. Here's some of the equipment that's underground. This is a long hole drill. Say you have some ore that's dipping in the same direction as the boom on this drill. You put a series of holes down parallel to the ore until you reach the next level and then blast it out. Long hole drill. Here's the single boom jumbo. This is how you drill the tunnels or the drifts underground. The larger drifts are drilled with double boom jumbos. So this is pretty big. There's people for scale. Here's a loader. This is a small loader, also called scoop trans. And the way they get these underground is you pull a plug in the middle, pull a pin, and so you have the back end, and then you have the front end. Now to get them underground, you hang them down, upside down underneath the skip.
Wow.
And you very slowly drop them down.
Are you talking the people are upside down?
Pardon?
Are you saying the people are upside down?
No, the loader is upside down.
The equipment.
The loader, there's nobody on there. The loader's upside down, and then way down underground, somebody will come along with a machine and pull it off sideways, and then they go up and get the other half. Put the pin back in.
How often do you, use a term from the oil industry, how often do you drill and come up dry? In other words, you thought you had it geologically figured out, and you go in and it...
Oh, I never came up dry.
Oh, okay.
More often than you'd want to. Oh, lots of times, yeah. You drill to the limit of the ore and then you put out a hole, just didn't go any farther, and sometimes you get lucky, and a lot of times you define the limit, don't find any more. Oh, and exploration holes, we put down lots of holes and don't find anything.
Do you ever worry about the stability of the construction you have there, and any danger to the people down below?
Yeah. That's, every time you put a round in, you muck it out, but you have scaling bars, you tap it, and so if it sounds solid, tap, tap, it's safe, usually. If it sounds drummy, you get back and you find out where the crack is and pry it down. If it's a real thick, loose slab, then you have to be careful, because it might not sound drummy, but it might be unstable. So you drill holes up there and pin it and screen it, and it's axiomatic, you don't go underneath unsupported ground. And people have violated those rules in the past and paid the price.
We've had some terrible accidents.
Yep, some terrible accidents. Shortcuts. My experience is mending machinery and taking shortcuts. Don't ever do
On the
that.
railroad, yeah, shortcuts will kill you.
Shortcuts.
There's enough small earthquakes up here, and I call them small relative to what's on the west coast. Does that affect the internal depth of the mine? And depth isn't what I'm saying.
There have been some cracks that, I'm not too familiar with those, but there have been movements that, affected the mines,
Okay.
little short snaps.
Okay.
And I'm not.
But the shaking doesn't do much to it.
It hasn't, those are surface waves that you feel, so you
Okay.
don't notice those underground.
Okay.
But I think some of the openings, they were shifting underground, and they heard snaps. And that's all I know. I never experienced them myself.
Okay. Thank you.
But there are some pretty big trucks underground. They're 40-ton utes that travel, miles, a couple miles from the shaft to the ore bodies. I mean, this is in our own backyards, right right at Balmat. Here's another view.
Wow.
They get these things, they cut them with torches, put them in pieces, hang them down upside down, drop them down, glue them back together. And if it was me, they would never run again. But, you know, you gotta hand it to the mechanics and the people who do that work, and they get them going.
Are they diesel?
Diesel.
So you've got ventilation extraordinary then.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And this is what the geologists ride around. Little Kubotas. There's a pickup in the background, that's a diesel pickup.
Is this above ground?
Pardon?
This is above ground?
This is underground.
Oh, is it? So that's
Yeah,
a
this is-
cavernous.
Big shop area
Okay.
underground. There's still a little bit of this kind of drilling, jackknife drill. Some high-grade ore there. And this is one of the ways to get people to and from the work area. This happens to be a diesel tram, and there's some electric ones. And that might be more prevalent in the future, I'm guessing. Minerals, pyrite here from the Pierpont mine. This is from Balmat number 4, rare minerals. Rhodonite is the pink. Don picorite is the brown. This is the type locality, what's known as the type locality for Don picorite, which means it's the only place in the world where this is found, right here in our own backyards.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a rock cut just south of Edwards where they have some of that mineral?
No.
Okay, because there's something that's a pink and green mineral at a rock cut just south.
Oh, yeah, it's diopside and pink calcite,
Oh, okay.
orange calcite. Cubic magnetite. Magnetite's pretty common mineral, but not big cubes such as what was found at Balmat, number 4. This is pretty cool. Celestine, Balmat Edwards, number 3 mine. New finds at Balmat. This just came out within the last year or so. Lilac colored calcite. And some of the best pieces, very best pieces, are in the New York State Museum at Albany. So if you ever get a chance to go there, they've got some fine specimens.
We have a piece on loan upstairs that you can see for our temporary exhibit,
Yeah.
so you can see a piece of the brand new stuff.
And there are some pretty cool fluorescent minerals. This is a rare one here. Ternarite, Balmat number 4 mine. This is what it looks like in daylight. This is how it lights up.
Wow.
Cool.
I brought a guy down there. We collected a great big piece of it. And all he told me was it was 3 figures when he sold it. Was it 3 figures or 4? I forgot. A lot. Geez. And willemite, Balmat number 2. This is a zinc silicate. Uses of zinc. Die casting for little cars like this. Galvanizing, rust-proof iron, steel. The zinc oxide is about 1.5 pounds of zinc oxide in every rubber tire to give it durability. Galvanized steel. Signs. You know what your signs are rusting? You don't want your bridge is rusting either. Galvanized steel, hot dip galvanizing. It's also used in brass, copper, and zinc. And here's something I found, I couldn't resist. I had to get it. Pharmaceuticals. Boudreaux's butt paste. I thought, man, this is really tacky, but I found it in Kinney, so I thought, I just have to get this. I have to take a picture of it at least. Boudreaux's butt paste. Unbelievable. Okay. Yeah, that one, that concludes my talk. Usually the lights are off, so you can't see.
if you have any questions for Bill?
I do. Do they use mostly drilling then, or do they use explosives as well?
Oh, they'll drill a face, yeah, that would have been, they drill a face, there might be 60 holes in it, 60 to 70. Biggest hole's in the middle and that's empty, and then they load all the other holes. And so the biggest hole's in the middle and it's empty, and then they fire in successive rings, so the ring closest will boom, and then boom, and boom, and boom. So they have explosives,
Okay,
called ANFO.
very good, yeah.
And then what material did you say the drills are? Diamond drill?
Diamond drill.
That's,
So it's a bit, it's a hollow steel, yeah, and and then the bit is impregnated with diamonds on the end, and it just spins around, drills right through the rock, and then you break it off, and you get a big long tube of rock, and you can log it and find out.
When you talked about the Edwards mine, you didn't mention the fact of the ground pressure that's in that mine causing the sluicing off of the rock material when you drill the subdrifts or the stopes, and then the internal pressure is pushing on them constantly.
Yeah, Fred, hi. Yeah, right, well, way down deep, especially with the anhydride, the
Yeah.
pressure was so great, it would start moving the ground, the floor would swell up and buckle a little bit,
Yeah.
way down there.
Isn't water the big thing with mining, keeping the water out?
In some places it was, yeah, especially where there was Potsdam sandstone way down on top of the.
I know it was Potsdam, I know it was.
Potsdam sandstone, yeah, it would get down there and then it would follow cracks and fractures and everything and follow it down. But otherwise pretty dry, and then the water that you do get down there was from keeping the drill bits wet when you drilled and washing down mud piles so you don't get dust flying around.
When was zinc first discovered in this part of the state? Those deposits, and it's amazingly complex folding that was going on. Who first discovered these, and did they have to bring in specialists to mine them? I think particularly the coal industry, they used to have so many people imported from Europe to help mine the coal.
Well, they knew about zinc at Balmat as far back as 1836 or 37, around then, but it wasn't considered mineable back then. It was on the John D. Balmat farm. And then they found pretty good zinc up at Edwards when they were building a road. You know, they cross-cut through zinc there, and then they started mining back in the, I believe it was 1920s.
Did they import labor to help with this?
I think in Richville, there's a building there, they have, maybe Fred can answer that too, the Welch Society, they brought in, you know, people from, you know,
The immigrants were brought in
immigrants, yeah.
talc mining. Talc mining
Before
goes
that.
up. The talc mining goes 133 years.
Yeah, so before the zinc.
Yeah, and a lot of the immigrants were the miners of that, but they were not experts. They were just workers.
So where's the asbestos? In with the talc or in with the zinc?
Well,
I just wondered.
the quote talc is an industrial term that they wanted it for the fibrous qualities, and I don't know if they considered, Fred's an expert on that more than me, but I think what happened was it gets in your lungs like anything else. Even butter and popcorn, you know, not good for you. And if you smoke, it's even 10 times worse probably, but it gets in, interferes with your oxygen exchange capacity, gets encapsulated, and then, you know, you just can't breathe. And I think if you're a smoker, then it does induce cancer even more. But I don't know about, some of it's asbestiform.
But you don't have it in your zinc mine,
No.
so it would, but your talc is mined separately, correct?
Yeah, that's a separate rock unit. We have that same rock unit in the zinc mine, and once in a while we cross it, but we don't mine that.
You don't look for it, right?
Yeah, where are they mining now in relation to your map?
Whoa, there, you go down number 4 shaft, that goes down 3,200 feet. And then through a series of ramps, you end up near Trips, I don't know, 2 miles away, down at 4,000 feet. So you go down 3,200 feet, and then you go through declines and ramps, you end up about 2 miles away, down at 4,000 feet.
Okay.
So you start out at Balmat and you end up near Bob's Market Trips. I don't know if you're familiar with that area, but it's, well, in Fowler,
Okay.
away from Balmat.